Welcome back to 365 Unlimited. We are back with an interview. It's been a long time. We've been out 3 months, no interviews, just chopping it up with Gannon, Carter, and myself as far as NFL content goes. But we got Trevor Fahnstrom in the building tonight. Excited to hear his story, and I'm going to let Gannon jump right into this one.
Man, small world of collides here. This is going to be coming up over 6 years since we first met back in 2017. Showcase in Naperville, Illinois at North Central College. Two lefty pitchers had the same glove. Clayton Kershaw model, A2000, blacked out. We became catch partners during the showcase. It was perfect. We threw a lot of same pitches. It's lefty pitchers. Like if you know anything about sports, baseball specifically, pitchers gel, and then you throw lefties on top of it. It's through the roof. So Trevor and I, that was first time and last time we met, saw in
First time and last
person.
time, yep.
But it's just awesome. We kept in contact through our playing time. He'll touch on that, going on to junior college with baseball at the time, pursuing our careers, and now we're completely different paths. But we've kept contacted through social media throughout all these 7+6 years, whatever it is now. And it's just crazy to both see where we're at, especially Trevor. We're going to hit on his success and just everything his journey's kind of taken him on. It's been a wild ride to just watch it from afar through a screen, having friends with him on all the socials. But this is fun, man. And just thank you again to hopping on for this. This is going to be a blessing. But just let everybody know who Trevor kind of is on and off camera, kind of a little bit of the backstory. We'll, hop into some details with some questions as we go on, but just give a little rundown quick.
Absolutely. So first off, I want to say thank you guys both for having me on here. Always an honor to hop on a podcast and to chat with you guys is awesome, and it's gonna be a good time. So a little bit about me. So I'm a social media content creator, predominantly sports content. Baseball obviously is the predominant sport for me, given my playing experience and knowledge of the game. I do football as well, a little bit of basketball. Trying to get the hockey in there sometimes too. We're really about all the sports and growing the game and the love for all sports. So that's my thing. In addition to that, I'm also an on-camera actor. Have appeared in a few movies, a couple TV shows, and many commercials over the years. So, I'm really just the kind of person that just loves to create. I love writing scripts. I like being on camera. I like directing. I like filming. I like all aspects of creating because there's so much opportunity within that element that you can just entertaining people is what I love to do.
100%. And you talk about loving to create. And I think the most fascinating part about simply creating, whether it's content, writing, if you like to have your own artwork in general, you get to bring out that creative side, right? And you talk about being an on-camera actor. I was reading a little bit about you today and trying to learn a little bit about you. And it says you were an on-camera actor and you've been comfortable with it since you were 8 months old. Is that truth? Is that
Yes,
fact?
sir. Yep, the first job I ever did was it was for a baby magazine. So it was like a modeling job. So it wasn't I didn't have any lines. I don't even know, could I talk back then? I think I could. But it was just a baby magazine thing. And then throughout the years, majority of my work came when I was a child actor. The movies, the TV shows, the commercials, those were all while I was a child actor. My last job I think was a few years ago. But since that has tapered off a little bit, it allowed me to focus on the social media, which has been my main thing right now.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I want to piggyback off that real quick,
Ahead.
but what kind of got you to that point? Like, it's fascinating to me because Gannon and myself being in this creative space now, and we do it in a different manner. But how did you bring that creative side out and get to show your true personality to the world? Like, it always fascinates me to hear that information from people,
Particularly like within the social media realm.
Yeah, just in general, being on camera. Like, how do you stick to being yourself all the time and just really show your personality?
So I was blessed in that I was brought into the whole on camera world by my parents. My mother was an actor. So she worked in theater, she did on camera. So she allowed me to enter that world and gain a lot of experience from an early age, learning about that whole industry, and it allowed me to see all sides of it, from in front of the camera, from behind the camera. So I was really comfortable with that whole thing from a young age. I mean, I was doing, sometimes I was doing 3 auditions a day. I was doing multiple auditions a week, three. I think, yeah, that's the most I did was 3 in a day. And this was when I was in elementary school, so when you're put into those positions where, it's just you, a camera, your people that you're doing the scene with, the people behind, the directors there sometimes, like, you kind of don't know any better at the time. And so you're kind of forced to just be comfortable with it from the start. And then as you get older, there's more factors that you think about. But I mean, when you're kind of just thrown into it from the start, you're naturally comfortable with it as you get older. So I've always been comfortable being on camera. And then as I got older, I enjoyed the other aspects of creation more, like the writing and directing and stuff like that. So like multiple film classes in high school. And I just always enjoyed it. And then, in college, me and my roommates, my teammates slash roommates, because we lived in baseball houses. We always just loved making funny, stupid videos. But it wasn't just like, oh, just record this, record that. It was like, hold on, let's actually like plot this out a little bit. I would write something up, and then they would be in it, and then I would edit it, and we would just post it, and people loved it. So it's just even the most trivial moments like that. There was always a method to the madness, I would say. I just always loved having these scenarios created, and it's a testament to just how comfortable I was with this whole lifestyle from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome. The background, the foundation that was built at such a young age, how it just really propelled you step by step getting to this. But I want to dive into with the social media creation, the sports content, kind of that turning point in your career, which is kind of when I saw it from groundbreaking stuff when you were just doing stuff in your room and all those TikTok videos at the beginning with not a lot of views. I remember it was 7,000, 8,000, 3,000, 2,000, and now it's like it's anything less than 15,000 on anything, like likewise, view-wise. Like if when you guys check this out, it will hit all of his socials in the bio and all that. But the numbers that he is doing is truly remarkable. But just talk on that, because you had the vision, you had this backing, but then the love for sports. So this is like two passions kind of colliding, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is that kind of how some of this started kicking off?
Absolutely what it is. That comfort with being on camera and the love for creating and directing and writing and all that stuff, combined with the knowledge of sport. I've been around sports my entire life. Was raised by a sports family. I played a bunch of sports. Baseball was obviously my main one, but I played a bunch of sports growing up, and I always enjoyed watching all the sports. So yeah, I mean, the social media for me really kicked off largely when my playing career ended. Because actually the person who convinced me to originally start on TikTok, which was the platform that gave me my start, was my teammate slash roommate. He's like, man, because he saw how much I enjoyed making these videos of us in our apartment. He's like, man, you'd be really good at this. And at first I was like, oh man, because I had heard about TikTok. It was in its early days, and I was like, man, that's some kid stuff right there. Like I'm not, that's not me. He's like, come on, dude, you got to try it. So it was late 2019, I believe. And I was like, fine. I was bored and I tried it. I was like, oh, this is kind of addicting, and I'm like, all right, let's pick it up a little bit. And I wasn't really making sports content at first. I was kind of just making whatever came to mind. And then I was like, oh, this is really fun. And then I'm like, well, what if I make sports-based stuff? Because I was seeing a lot of sports-based stuff on my For You page. I'm like, this is what you know. I'm like, okay, so make baseball. And then my first video blew up, which was a baseball video. But blowing up back then for me, I was like, man, I hit 10,000 views. Yeah. I'm going viral, And it was like, as soon as you hit that little success at the beginning, you're like, man, I just want to keep doing this. So continued on with that. And then, COVID came, and at that point, you don't really have anything to do but, the things you're doing around the house. And that's what I like doing around the house. So that allowed me to really focus in on the content creation. And that's when it really started taking off, and it's history from there.
Yeah, you brought up actually a very fascinating point when I was listening to you right there. And you talk about seeing sports content on your For You page, right? And I think Gannon and myself, like people who love sports, that's what you're going to see naturally through the algorithm. How did you, as a content creator, or in them early stages of making those videos, how did you kind of separate your content from the content you were already seeing? How did you individualize it and kind of try to stick out from the pack?
I think getting into it at first, you kind of piggyback off of what other people are doing, because it's like, oh, well, obviously if I'm seeing it, then if I put out something similar to this, people will see that too. And I'm not saying I was copying people's work, because I will always stand by that till the day I die, is that I will never take an idea, or if I had, if I'm inspired by an idea, I'll credit it and everything. I will always stand by that.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of just learn from what you're seeing on there. And what I realized, what made these things successful, was it was situations within sports for athletes and fans that are relatable. Because when you're watching something, you're like, oh, what generates that excitement or that laughter within you is, oh, this is something that I've experienced,
Yep.
or I've seen, or I've dealt with, and there's that relatability, and that's what makes people interested in it. So I'm like, I just got to make something that's relatable. And I think that first baseball video that blew up was like, it was about being a pitcher in baseball and like finally thinking you get a chance to hit. And then coach is like, this is your only time. You're never doing it again. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was just something that, like, being a PO the end of my playing career, it's like, man, we always just wanted to hit and they never let us. So it's like, and that's, people saw that and were like, man, I relate to that. So obviously not everyone's a pitcher, but enough people related to it to get the video views to the point where it was like, oh, this is viral,
Well, I know what you're talking about with Gannon, because Gannon, when he was in college playing ball, I just remember he'd be sending me these emails and texts like, hey, we got a home run derby coming up for the POs, blah, blah, blah. You can win some money if I hit home runs. I'm like, bro, you ain't hitting no home runs. Stop.
I hit 7 the first year. All right. I was the last
Did you
pitcher
really?
in the last round. Yeah.
See, all I've seen is Gannon pitch. I've never seen him hit nothing else. It was that one day.
No. Just your resume and just everything building up kind of let you into as a box in your back shoulder there with the MLB creator class. I really want to dive into that. I know another big name in the industry is Jackson Olsen, somebody you worked with on that angle. He's now playing for the Bananas. Like, he is just booming on his side of things. But just the doors of this opening for your opportunities, and just this last year that you're coming off of, which I'm going to hit on some more down the road here, but just it's awesome to see the names and the facilities and just everything you're getting to experience with it.
Yeah, it's been a blessing, I was fortunate as I started to pick up some traction on the socials. MLB one day followed me, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've made it.
I'm real.
And it was just like, okay, it was nice to get that initial respect. And then as time went on, then I started doing sort of like one-off type collaborations with MLB. We made little videos here and there that they would post on their page, and it was like, this is cool. And then one day they made an announcement that was like, oh, we're establishing this thing called the creator class. And it's basically just like a social media ambassadorship for the game of baseball and Major League Baseball. And at first I'm like, well, I've worked with these guys already. Like, they got to just throw me in there, right? Like, do I even have to apply? They're like, no, you have to apply. I'm like, all right. So I applied and I was accepted, and I was grateful for that. And I was in the inaugural creator class. It was the first one, and it wasn't the same as the ones that have happened since then, because this was kind of established way at the end of the season. So I believe we only got 4 months to do it. But within those 4 months, I kind of made the most of the whole situation. Went to several baseball games. I worked with the Cubs. I was on the field with the Cubs doing content with the mascot. Some players. I think I went to New York and did content with the Mets. And then that postseason is when I really kicked into high gear. I went to the wild card, division series, championship series, and then it all ended with the World Series. We got invited out to games 2 and 3 of the World Series. So that was 2021. So that we started in Houston and then went to Atlanta after that. And really, at the end of the day, it was a great opportunity for exposure, but also just in terms of networking, because the relationships that I've made within Major League Baseball and just within the social media industry in general, and with different teams and stuff like that, has just been amazing and has helped get me to the point I'm at today.
Yeah, so you talk about, having the opportunity first and foremost, to throw the flowers your way. Like, it's cool to be able to be in those atmospheres and be with those teams, be with those players. Like, not many people get that opportunity, and that hard work obviously paid off for you. But just a different angle looking at this, like, what was it like to be able to travel? Like, I know us as people kind of take it for granted, having the opportunity to go around to different cities, try different foods, meet different people. You talked about the networking right there, which is key to everything, But what's it been like to go to all these different cities, see the different teams, different facilities, all of it?
It's been life changing. I mean, throughout my life, especially being involved in high level sports, you're used to just doing that. You
Yeah.
kind of can't really go places unless it's with your team. Like you go here for spring training and this and that or whatever. It's like you're with your team all the time, or you're training or this and that. Like you're home, you're with the team. You're home, you're with the team. That's it. So this has allowed me to get out to these places that I've always dreamed of being at as a kid. Being a young baseball fan. It was always my dream to hit every single ballpark in the country. And because of baseball and stuff like that, I was never able to do that. So I'm still not there yet. I haven't hit every single ballpark, but we're certainly on the right path. And so just being able to travel around and as I said, meet these people. I mean, I've met, tons of MLB players, executives, people working for different social media teams across the league. I mean, I'm doing things that I never thought I would in a million years would have a chance to do.
Yeah, I got to bring this Gannon because I've always wondered. Gannon and myself had the opportunity to work for Des Bryant. He does personal corner, a whole brand like that, and having the opportunity to meet not just a celebrity but a pro athlete. They live in a different lifestyle, right, than what we're accustomed to. What would you say is one central piece of advice you've learned from executives, players, or just something you've picked up on that is key to people chasing their dreams?
Good. Yeah.
I think it's just being yourself. I mean, you really just got to be yourself. I mean, being myself was what got me to where I'm at, just because I didn't care. I didn't care about outside opinions. I said, I'm going to create the content that I want to create because I'm entertained by it. And other people are obviously entertained by it. And at the end of the day, if you succumb to the pressures of people who are hating on you, it's like, I don't make it for them.
Yep.
For every three people that are hating on what you do, there's another person over there who loves you for what you do. And you don't understand the impact that you can make on that one person. I've had people DM me saying that you're the only thing that makes my day happy right now. I love coming home from school and seeing your videos, and it's like, I don't do it for, I want to, be accepted by these people who are haters. I do it because I want to support that person who needs that support, and you talked about, like, for example, working with Des, there's the times where you get that starstruck moment, meeting and talking to some of these people, right? What takes 1 second of their day to talk to you or do whatever means so much to us, So it's like, if I can be that for somebody else, I'm going to do my damn best to make sure that I can be that person for somebody else. That's why I try to answer every comment that I can. When people ask me for a picture, I don't just take the picture, have a conversation, because you don't know what that means to those people. So it's just be yourself and go that little extra step for everything, because you don't know the kind of impact that you can make on these people.
No, I know you're passionate about it because I just lit a fire under you. I love that. I love that, man.
Yeah, that was the speech right there.
I love it. But
it's real though, and like that's the core reasons why people like ourselves and you do this type of stuff, man. Because it's the smiles on the face, and those are the intrinsic rewards from the extrinsic stuff that, like, it comes together and it just ultimately works together in that right direction. But I want to switch gears a little bit. What was kind of like an aha moment? You've interviewed countless players. You've been at countless stadiums, all-star games, World Series. There's not much on a baseball field and professional wise that you haven't covered, people you haven't talked to, events that you haven't even live stream covered. No matter what it is, what was like the one aha moment, like, wow, I'm really here, like I've made it, this is my time?
Man, so the initial one I used to always say was World Series, being at the World Series, because when we were in Atlanta, we were in the creator/player suite. So basically one of those where you do a 360 around the room and you're like, I am the least important person in this room right now because everyone else in here is sick. I mean, 2 Chainz was in there. The commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, was there. Jazz Chisholm, Akil Badu, all these MLB players, former MLB players. I mean, that was amazing. But I think the new aha moment for me has got to be the hosting the live show during the Home Run Derby on MLB's TikTok, because that, oh my gosh, I mean that was a really that was a career changer for me, just in terms of like my mentality towards everything. leading up to that moment, I was so nervous because I had never really done
Oh,
something of that sort before and
Yeah.
something of that scale. They're like, yeah, you're doing a live show from the field at T-Mobile Park in Seattle as the actual home run derby is going on. And you're also co-hosting it with Ozzy Albies. And I'm like, what is happening right now? So the entirety, I landed in Seattle and I was super nervous. I mean, that's all I was thinking about the entire trip leading up to that. I mean, the night before I couldn't sleep because I'm an overthinker. I'm a perfectionist. I'm an overthinker, and so I'm going through every single detail. Leading up hours before, I'm pacing back and forth in my hotel room, like going through everything, making sure I know everything. And I was like going to the stadium, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I feel like as soon as it starts, I'm just gonna clam up and not know what I'm doing. But the moment that I walked through that tunnel, I walked through the players' tunnel to get there. And I walked through the players' tunnel and I walk out on that field. You hear the crowd, you see the players, and you're just like, I'm meant for this. And something just changed. All the fear, all the doubt was gone. Because as soon as I walked out on that field and I'm standing there amongst guys who I grew up watching, I'm hanging out Clayton Kershaw here, Ronald Acuna there, Juan Soto. I mean, like, you're like, man, I'm here for a reason. So let's figure it out. Let's go to work. And so as soon as I walked over to where we were shooting, put the earpiece in, got the microphone, and I felt like I was meant for that. And camera turns on, and I only met Ozzy 5 minutes before the show started because he was messing around doing something before the derby, and I was like, hey, how are you? But as soon as we clicked right away. I was nervous because I'm like, I don't know how he's gonna be with me or
killed it,
whatever.
dude. You killed
I mean, we had chemistry from the jump. I mean, the aha moment within that aha moment was national anthem. I'm on the line with the players, basically. Head over the heart and everything. Flyover, fireworks. I felt like I was a player, man. And everything that happened, I just felt like I was meant for that, and all the fear and all the doubts just went away.
Yep.
And then and it went by so fast because I was having so much fun. And once you learn to have fun doing stuff like this, it's not work.
Nope.
It's just anything. As long as you're having fun doing it, it's not work. It's not nothing, and it makes everything so worth it.
Isn't it honestly just
awesome.
isn't it crazy though that that's the same feeling we got when we played sports, right? Like the build
Exact.
up.
I was my exact thought that whole time.
Like, dude, you think
it's
about
carbon copy of being an
It is.
athlete and having those footprints our whole life, and then also throwing the acting on at a very early age with him, like just being there.
Well, it's like that butterfly, that nervousness
Yeah.
feeling.
Oh yeah.
Like you feel like you got a bowling ball in your stomach, your throat is closing in, and like you're getting ready for a biggest game of your life, or it could be just a simple regular season game, and you're still terrified. And the second you step up to bat, or the second you step on the mound, it's go time. And that's exactly what you explained. And that's the cool thing with our brains, like especially people that like want to chase greatness and want to achieve their dreams. Like the second you step out on that field, the second you step in front of a microphone or get on camera, you know what the hell it is. Like you know what's coming. And
You got it. Yeah.
well, it's crazy, and I applaud you for it. Like, because that ain't something easy to do, and to be able to do it in front of the biggest stage in the world, baseball setting. Like, I can't. I'm speechless in all reality, and like the brands you get to work with. Like when I was looking at some of them earlier. I mean, like Gatorade, DraftKings, Capital One, T-Mobile, EA Sports. Like seriously, just think about that for a second, man.
Household names.
Like you are.
Yeah.
You're there. You're there.
Yeah. What I learned through these experiences, talking about the butterflies and everything, is that you can't run from it. You got to just attack it, because the minute you run from it, you're going to live your life wondering what if I had the guts to do this or do that. There were times before that live show where I'm like, what if I just like bow out? Like, what if I just like back out? I'm like, I'm not prepared for this right now.
Mm-hmm.
But once you fight that fear away and just go for it and say, oh, I'm nervous. Yeah, I'm nervous.
Yeah,
let's go. Let's go.
Exactly.
And then once you go and then you get through it and you realize how fun it was and how much you're meant for it, best feeling in the world. And then you've accomplished something that you said, I fought through that. And if I can get this done, I can get anything else done that comes my way and is challenging me.
Facts. And speaking of getting things done, I've been staring at it the whole time we've been recording. Talk to me about the hat. Talk to me about the logo. Talk to me about the individual brand.
Yeah, so this is my brand, clothing brand. TF is my initials, obviously.
Yep.
I refer to it mostly as Team Trev. That's what I like to call my supporters. Team Trev. They've because it's not, those aren't my followers or my fans. This is my community. They are part of the team. We are all part of this team, and so this is my logo, and I wear it with pride. And yeah, I mean, I've seen some people wearing it, and anytime I see it, it's a blessing to know that people are invested in the they believe in me and everything that I do, and they support that. It means a whole lot to me.
That's awesome.
Hell yeah, I love it.
So you have a little Team Trev guy come up to you. He's 13, 14. He kind of asks you a little advice, kind of moving forward, content creator, acting, sports. What's some life advice going through your path already, extending, for those 10 years that you maybe have lived longer and experienced more than that little guy? What was something you would tell that man right now? Just something to keep going forward, guy or girl, just what's some piece of advice?
I think it's a culmination of two of the things that I said earlier. It's just attack these things that you're afraid of, and don't care what people think along the way.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, you're gonna have things you're afraid of. You're gonna have people who are hating on you, and you just got to believe in yourself and your ultimate goal. Do what you want, because you're living your life. You're not living somebody else's life. They're not living your life. You live your life. You got to do with your life what you want and what you see as your ultimate journey, your ultimate path. You're gonna have hiccups along the way. I've had hiccups along the way, and I'm a true believer in everything happens for a reason, and I know what I ultimately want to get to, and at this point, I don't care what people think. As long as I'm not doing anything bad or anything hurtful, which I will always say I'll never do something like that. Just stay true to yourself. And just know what you want, go after it, and don't care what people say along the way.
I love it. That's a common theme right there. Honestly, when the stars align and you look at all of the successful people in this world in general, in whatever space it's in, it could be sports, business, content creation in general, the common theme with all of that is they stick to who they are. They are real, and they present that to you for who they are, and they don't care about what you think. Certain people will love it, and some people will hate it. But at the end of the day, as long as you can go to bed at night and you know that you chose to put your best foot forward as who you are, then success is coming your way. But what's the goals looking like for the next couple of years? What do we want to achieve, and where are we going with this thing?
So, I've established myself well within Major League Baseball and the baseball community. Really, the next step for me is trying to establish myself further within other sports communities. I've really picked up on the football a lot. I'd really like to establish myself with the NFL, much like I have with Major League Baseball. Working with different teams, making videos with the mascots, showing off the stadiums, showing the game day experiences, because baseball is a sport where it's like, it's hard to sell baseball sometimes. You really got to love it. You got to have a connection to it. It's tough to be a casual fan and love baseball. You go to a
Gannon knows
game.
Gannon knows how I feel about it. Baseball. I'm trying to get back into it, man, because I played 2 years of JUCO ball. Sorry to cut you off, but I played 2 years of JUCO ball, and then COVID hit, and I committed to a D3 school. Got there, COVID, getting tested every day. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with this.
It's a lot.
And I never got to actually settle in with my decision as to why I was done. So I've never really gone back and watched professional ball. I've strictly been football. So it's fascinating to hear you talk about it that way.
Yeah, it's a tough sport to love. I was born into it, so I kind of you have that early jump to it. But if you're a casual person just trying to pick it up, it's tough, because it's not that super exciting sport where it's there's a big play happening every minute.
It's different forms.
Yeah. But once you kind of hone in on those beautiful moments within the game of baseball, it can be the best sport in the world. But really, as I was saying, it's showing off that football atmosphere. I know the fans are crazy, man, and going to these games, college football, NFL, like I really want to show that off too. Because I know how much people love that. And if I can, establish myself within that realm, I mean, I really just want to establish myself as best as I can within every sport, every community, every sports community, every league, just to show people how great sports are. I want people to, I want those basketball fans to fall in love with baseball. I want those baseball fans to fall in love with football in love with basketball. I want sports. The sports world is such a beautiful thing, and there's so much wonder within it, and I just want everyone to be able to experience that.
That's
100%.
awesome.
100%.
Been a lot of people. I'm gonna put my sports fan hat on here, going through your social media, especially on the TikTok side of stuff, just all the players, the different names that you've interviewed and questions. My favorite's obviously been when you were in Detroit over the summer with Javi Baez, being the Cubs fan. I know the connection we have just over the years, like that had to be awesome because we were 16, 17. They won the World Series, like the emotional attachment with that. Just talk about maybe interviewing him or maybe some other guys that's been your favorite. I know Corbin Carroll, you get a lot of comps to that. I've seen people shout you out on social media, Rookie of the Year, just fresh off of that. Shout out Corbin on that aspect. But just studs, like absolutely generational talent, Hall of Famers. Like these are people that as they're coming into your career, as your career was coming in, so was theirs on the playing side. So I think that's a cool evolution in this part too. But you got to give me some on this Javi interview. That had to be awesome.
Yeah, man, that was so. I've been fortunate in having the opportunity to work with the Tigers on several occasions, which is great because the Tigers are my second team. My mom's side of the family is from Detroit, so Detroit has a special place in my heart. So I've been able to be on the field creating content at Comerica Park in Detroit several times, and see, this was this summer. So the summer before that was my first time being on the field creating content, and Tigers were hitting BP. And I was filming a video coming out of the dugout, and Miguel Cabrera looks at me. He's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Right? And I'm like, "Okay, wow." But at least he's acknowledging me. He probably hates me right now, but whatever. So he's coming off the field with Javi, and they're walking towards the dugout. Said hi to Javi. Asked Miggy if he wanted to be in a video. He just laughed at me and kept walking. Typical Miguel Cabrera type thing. But that left a lot to be desired with me, knowing that they were going to be back the next year. And Miggy was a bit inaccessible this year just because it was his last ride, and he doesn't love the media anyway, especially some kid who's just trying to put you on social media. Like, listen, like when I do my content interviewing players, I don't ask stupid questions. But I could easily see Miggy just assuming that of me and definitely would not want to talk to me. So. But just being in his presence was fantastic. But Javi, man, I come onto the field. Javi's in the dugout doing an interview because it was Puerto Rican Pride Day, I think, Puerto Rican Appreciation Day or something at Comerica for that Tigers game. And so he's getting interviewed, and he's the main focus of the day. So he's probably tired of the media by now. Starts walking out of the dugout or back towards the clubhouse, and I'm like, Javi, man, you got like 5 minutes. He's like, no, man, I gotta go, and I'm like. Bro, come on. Like, you're the only guy here that I really need to talk to right now. And thankfully, one of the Tigers social people there said, Javi, it'll be like 2 minutes. He's like, oh, fine. Like a kid, like in like at your school, and you tell them that they have to do something that they don't want to do, and they're like, oh, fine. I'm like, great. This is going to be a great interview. On the field. I asked him a lot of questions about his his career moments. I asked him what his favorite play was of his career because he's made so many great defensive plays over the years. But he picked plays that I didn't expect.
I know.
He picked like him diving into the crowd, which I'm like, I forgot that even happened. And then I asked him about his favorite homer or his favorite offensive moment, and he said his Mother's Day homer, which I understood that, but I thought it would be like the rundown between first and home or him stealing home in the NLCS. But he's like, no, Mother's Day because my mom was there. So it was really cool to connect with him on a more personal level for that video. And he was great and well-spoken and respectful and definitely very different from when it initially started with him because I was like, he's going to give me like nothing. He's going to give me no effort at all because he does not want to do this. But he was great.
Oh, that's awesome. And to be able to see your passion behind it, like it's even more special. But what does not even necessarily a day-to-day look like for you? Because I can imagine hectic when it comes to content creation and putting things together, all the editing processes and everything. But how, I guess, a little inside look into your strategy. How does Trevor go about figuring out what type of content he wants to publish
So step one is
without
just being.
leaking your secrets? You don't have to leak
No,
the
no,
secrets.
no. This will be a very basic breakdown of how I go about my stuff. So the key one is be in tune with the sports world as much as possible. Watch a ton of sports. Watch all the big games. Stay tuned into all the social channels to see what's going on in other aspects that you may not be watching. That's the main thing. Kind of keeping an eye on what people are most talking about
Mhm.
within the sports world. I mean, like for example, like this past Monday, uh, you know, Monday Night Football, the Bills field goal fiasco was just ridiculous. I mean, with the missed kick and then the penalty and then the made kick, and everyone was talking about it. So it's like, well, you got to make a video about what everyone's talking about. Um, so it's that, and then over the years, I've sort of created a mental library of sounds that live on TikTok and various platforms on social media, and I keep a list of all the sounds, and then in my head, like I'll watch a moment happen on social media, or not on social media. I'll watch a game moment happen and say, what is this reminding me of? What does it make me feel? This, that. And then I go into my mental library of all the sounds and connect those two. So from there, I'll write the ideas down. I keep a list of every sport, every form of video, whether it's short form, long form. I I'm a big list guy. I write everything down in lists, and then I'll attack it. I'll get my props together, my filming equipment, and I actually film in my room. I still film in my room, believe it or not. All these crazy places I've created content over the years, and I still film here. So, yeah, I'm never not thinking about video ideas. I'm just really just watching sports and thinking about what's hot right now, and yeah, just what's most relatable, and just creating it and then editing it and getting it out when I see most fit time wise.
Well, that's a really
Always just, it's a
interesting.
24 hours thing,
Yeah.
man.
That's really interesting when you talk about like pairing the sound with the moment. Like that is crucial because I mean, music makes people feel a type of way. You get that, you catch that vibe. You want to stay tapped into the video, and whether it's a song or just simply a beat in the background or just noise in general. No, that's actually I've never heard that before. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, people I've seen recently, a lot of people respect me for my ability to find the perfect sound for each scenario, and I pride myself on that, and that's why um I damn near study my sound library. And as I
Hmm.
said, by now I know what fits with what scenario in my head, and it's like, oh, this happened. Okay, so I can use this sound, and like I try to get that thing out as fast as possible. So like there are literally times where the game will be going on, and I can assume how it's going to end, and I will go and film it during the game. So as soon as the game's over, I will put it out. Because think about it, if you're watching the game right now, right? You see how it ends, and the game's over. What do? You go to your phone, right?
Yeah.
You go on TikTok, you go on Instagram
Yeah.
to see what people are saying about that game. And then what do you know? Trevor's video's right there, and it's that comedic rendition of what just happened on the TV in front of them. And that's what people like. And so I'm gonna stick with that.
It's interesting how a lot of your answers or comment, Dean, is basing off what's already there, but then making it your own and kind of having your own twist. Like you're not trying to make and create anything that's crazy and out of this world. You're already taking, like Bryce uses the word algorithm a lot. Like you're already taking what's already working in the content creating world with social media, but then taking it to the next angle and putting your own spin on it. And I just think it's really unique in that aspect and something that we can take, I think, Bryce, just with our stuff moving forward. And that kind of leads me into a question we always ask our viewers on here or our guests that are come on the show, just kind of, rate your experience on the show and what some advice is just, something for us as 365 is our brand moving forward as well.
You guys ask very good questions. I always, I've been on quite a few podcasts at this point, and getting questions that I have to pause for a second and think how to answer it is always a good thing. You guys are very well spoken. I love the thought-provoking questions. Yeah, I mean, all good things, really. I love being able to speak on what I do, talk about the mentality behind it, and even more so than just what's going on. It's like, what does it reflect within the bigger picture of life? And I like being able to talk about that. We touched upon not just my career and my accomplishments, but also, you know, the mentality while you're going through it, and all the trials and tribulations that you can deal with along the way, and how you overcome those things. Um, so being able to find the emotions and the mentalities behind all these things, I think, is really a good thing to touch upon, because we all have these emotions that we deal with no matter what aspect of life we're dealing with. So being able to talk about the bigger picture within these things is really good. And so I commend you guys for that.
No, I appreciate that. And to piggyback off of what Gannon was saying, I think what makes your content unique is, just like everything else in this world, our personality is so individualized. It's unreplicable. You can't replicate who Trevor is. Trevor can't be me, and I can't be Trevor.
Right.
So the way we think about this when it comes to the algorithm, yes, you can see all the sports content in the world you want to, but as soon as Trevor puts his own spin on it, his own unique personality, that's what catches people's attention. It's not even the sports content that does. It's Trevor. It's his individual brand. It's who he is. It's what he stands for. And that's I applaud you for it. And I appreciate you greatly for taking the time out of your night, busy schedule. And shoot, you're probably getting lucky. I don't really know what's on TV when we're recording this, so you probably don't have to record much tonight.
Well, you know what? There's no NFL going on today, so we're good. No college football primetime games going on, so we're good. We got college basketball, but we're trying to step up the basketball game a little bit, but we got some work to go with that. So, but no, I appreciate you guys having me on here. It really means a lot.
Yeah, just to go off what Bryce said about having that spin of being you, I think that's been the constant, watching your content and creation, literally from the groundbreaking to all the way where it is today, just kind of being a fan from afar. It stayed the same. Like, you still have your dad in recordings, you still go to the same rec park, whatever it is, like in the area. You're still rocking same gear, like some of the same stuff. Like, you don't change, you don't throw new gear, like you still match. Like, your themes have stayed the same throughout your whole time and your rise to fame with all this. And I commend you on that. I got a lot of respect and just admiration from you from afar, just knowing each other with this baseball stuff. And it's just a crazy small world. And it's motivating with all three of us being in our early 20s, like the stuff that we're doing right now. Obviously, Trevor on an even greater scale, but just what we're doing right now, impacting other individuals. Like, we're doing stuff that we wish we could do when we were younger. We're already doing this at this age that a lot of people couldn't even get to in their whole lifetime. So I think that's the cool part. But man, kudos and respect to you. Keep grinding. I love what I do, or I love what you do, man. And I'm going to keep tuning in, be a fan of yours, and we'll eventually link up in person. We'll have a few adult beverages over the success that we've had, man. So
absolutely.
Yeah, just to close this one out, once again, thank you, Trevor. I hope everyone had the opportunity to, one, learn something, feel inspired, understand that you can do everything. If you do everything, you can achieve your dreams, no matter what scale you want to get to. And Trevor's a prime example of that. So we appreciate you, Trevor, and we appreciate every single one of you who tapped in, and we will catch you next time.